Welcome back, everyone, to Gulag Cafe. It is so hot and muggy. I'm about to die, even with the AC going full blast all day. That's why I'm kind of shiny. Uh, so forgive me if I'm a little under the weather and just feel like crap. It's because I'm not meant to live in miserable, humid, tropical swamp weather. And unfortunately, that's what it's like about a month out of the year here. But tonight, I am invigorated because we are talking about one of my favorite locales again, and stuff that's a little surprising. That this what I dubbed today on Twitter the anti-white herpes of the woke right has gone viral, and it has started infecting other places. So anyway. Tonight, during the course of the stream, of course, if you would like to share your hard-earned resources with Chris and I, we split the proceeds of this stream series 50-50 together. And you can send in, I prefer messages, paid chats on Entropy. That's the way I prefer. That is the pinned link in all of the chat. You can also send in crypto if you want to give Bitcoin or Monero, something like that. There's a crypto wallet link. You can also send short messages on Cash App and PayPal. I'll check those on my phone. And of course, I would deeply appreciate monthly support over on my Subscribestar. And thank you to Matt M. He was the alphanumeric name because that's what Subscribestar does for a while until it encodes. Welcome aboard, Matt M. I will have your name added to the intro video and the outro slide hopefully by next week. I will have that updated to include your name, Mr. Matt M. Thank you very much. So this is a 1-hour chat about one of our favorite locale topics. Take it away, Mr. Newsfist.
Greeting and welcome once again, Tovarichi, to another excellent episode of Gulag Cafe, live from you from United Kingdom Soviet Socialist Republic, or as we like to say affectionately, woke North Korea. We are not North Korea yet, but we are trying very, very hard, comrades. Please pull up charred log, help yourself to lovely cup of roach milk. No chocolate today, unfortunately, because chocolate is evil imperialist capitalist invention. You'll have to have your roach milk plain, I am afraid. Please don't drink up. Wasting any will result in beatings by Igor, and he has very, very big stick. Tonight we are talking about rise of the woke right again. Now, of course, it has been long Communist Party policy to basically call everything fascist. Your mom is fascist, your dog is fascist, free thinking is very fascist, having money. In fact, doing anything that is to oppose the communism is a fascist. But now, I hate to say this, comrade, but it seems that grand plan by World Commissar seems perhaps to be backfiring. Do not say this too loud, I will get beaten. But it is true, there is rise of fascism everywhere. It appears the magical trick of calling everyone fascist and racist has worn off. Who could have possibly thought what happened to our magic word, comrades? Clearly, we needed to employ more brute force. Enjoy. Yes. The woke right thing is still trundling along in the background, and it's weird, right? So after getting soundly beaten on Twitter, like, oh my god, James Lindsay looks like he's got PTSD now. Just, I don't know. I'm try not to show Schadenfreude too much, but like, oh my god, he really annoyed the shit out of me, right?
One of my favorite responses I saw to James Lindsay today on Twitter was, "This guy's like the crazy homeless dude screaming at demons nobody else can see."
Look, he turned around and he attacked all of our friends, right? Many of these people whom I know personally, right, who were lovely people, who were very, very nice to me, right? He turned around, right, like just slagging everyone off by association. Oh my god, right? Well, screw you, man, right? Like, you know, you sow the wind, you reap the whirlwind. And now he's, you know, extremely annoyed that like all the groypers are, you know, up his ass and, you know, basically filling his comments with comments. You know what I mean, right? Like, well, what did you expect, right? You turned around and you attacked your own fan base, right? Many such cases. Anyway, so it seems that
Jason Kuna just joined the chat, and I want to make sure he heard the funny thing that I'm calling the woke right thing. I call it anti-white herpes. because it's this horrible, annoying thing that just won't go away.
And it flares up every so often.
And it keeps flaring up no matter how we try, no matter how many times we treat it, it keeps flaring up.
Now, the latest tactic seems to be to pivot towards the legacy media. I don't know if this is going to be an effective tactic, bro. Who the fuck still watches the legacy media? Some boomers, I guess. So I have noticed that there has been a whole bunch of stuff popping up on legacy media at the moment, right? There's like an article that came out in France, in Le Monde, which is like sort of a big French newspaper, all about les wokerettes, les baguettes, right? And there's been a number of interviews come out mainly on mainstream terrestrial television, interviews with, fascists and Nazis and Christians. And so I thought we'd just play some of them because some of them are freaking hilarious, quite frankly, right? And if you're old enough, right, they harken back to a simpler time, right? Like the 90s and early 2000s, where like you could go on legacy media and be, tonight, somebody that we hate, we found them to interview and they just talked about a thing that we hate. Don't you hate them? Our shocking report coming up at 10 p.m. on WZW Wow News.
Yeah, it reminds me of like the late 90s and early aughts interviews where they find the one crazy guy who like became violent from playing video games, and they're like, are video games turning people crazy and violent? It's like the same kind of shit. It's like, do people loving God and wanting to put their own countrymen first, is that Nazism? Is this fascism? Like, it's the same pearl clutching lunacy.
Well, at the same time, of course, right? It's very, very important not to have any deeper conversations about like why any of this is happening, right? Because deeper conversation make pleb brain hurt, right? But the thing is, right, because there is social media, these conversations are happening nonetheless, right? And the powers that be don't really know what to do with this. I honestly think at this point, if the internet was not so crucial to the financial workings of the modern world, they would seriously consider banning it. In fact, the online safety bill is about to go live at the end of the week in the UK. I don't know how this is going to affect. Like, apparently they want you to like basically give up like real ID to access any internet service that may have tits and ass on it. I will probably be reporting on this since I'm in London.
I think that's a Tony Blair Trojan horse. I think that they want to enforce this real ID thing for an easy sell. Like, oh, well, we don't want children looking up pornography. But what they really want is to force everyone who uses the internet to have a digital ID. And then they can start controlling everything. News media, communications, everything. This is a slimy Tony Blair approach to try to force everyone into a digital ID mindset, so it's easier to backfill and justify what they do to us without our will.
Look,
like that's how politics works.
I agree with you totally, but it really does seem that the powers that be are losing control of the narrative in ways that, frankly, I'm very surprised to see. So, for example, in the UK, it has just been accepted wisdom, basically, for ages, that you can just import as many infinity migrants as you want. You can be as anti-white as you want. You can like destroy white areas, replace all the people, right? And, no one's going to do shit. Like, what are you going to do, right? We print the money, we collect the taxes. Did you know, right, that the UK government captures 43% of the entire UK economy? Yeah. 43%? Of the whole economy.
It's not much better in the United States. It's not much better here.
It's not a country. It's a government with like little bits sticking out of it. Yeah. Oh, it's insane, right? We are approaching USSR.
My mother's husband has worked a corporate job since he got out of college, right? Same corporate job, same company. He has to work, I think, until April 10th before he starts earning a single cent because the government takes so much. It's like a third of all of his money. And then we have sales tax, and then we have real estate tax and property taxes and taxes on investments and taxes on everything else. So it's like, it's not quite 43 or 45% here, but it's in the 30s. It's a lot.
Oh yeah, I mean, this is my point. The UK is on the verge of literally tipping over into just complete explosion, right? I would sort of venture that once the government starts capturing sort of more than 50% of like the real economy and starts edging up, right? It starts getting faster, and then just everything collapses, right? And of course, they won't cut taxes because we have a socialist government, basically, right? They put on like their suits and pretend, but they're basically socialists, right? So we're just gonna watch some clips about the woke right,
Okay.
and laugh
All
and point and stuff, and it's gonna be fun. Also, I just anyone watching, right? Just make sure you're like sub to my Rumble channel and Odyssey channel. I don't like to shill too much, but if YouTube goes like the full retard, I might get like banned, or they might be like, hey, you've got to upload like MRI scans of your butthole before we like let you on, and I'm not sure like whether I can do stuff over a VPN or whatever. So just please, if you like my content, and say a prayer for all of us stuck in the United Kingdom. That would be great as well, bros. Thank you very much. You can find all my links at www.newsfist.net. Right, like end of shilling. I just wanted to get that out. Right.
Oh, that's fine. No, shill all you like, and you can always find Newsfist's link to all of his sites and stuff in the Newsfist link. I put it in the description. So, shall I play the first ridiculous anti-white herpes video?
Okay, well, no, hang on. We've got a meme first. We have a meme.
Oh, we have a meme. Let's in small one.
Right?
Yes. Oh.
This is really sort of like the general tenor towards like Lindsay at the moment, right? And he can't hack it, right? Actually, maybe should we play that Lindsay video first? Have you got that one? It's the last link that I sent you. Maybe we should start off with that because it's
sure. If it's the very last one you sent, yeah. Let me change it in the play order.
So Lindsay's on he's on some show, and he's like, I'm surprised you wanted to talk to me. No one wants to talk to me now. He's going around basically saying that he's being cancelled.
Yeah.
And he's trying to say that Joel Berry from That Blonde Bee is being cancelled. No one's taking your bank accounts, right? No one's kicking you out of your home. No one is imprisoning you for hate speech, right?
What's happening to James Lindsay falls under freedom of speech, not freedom of reach. People just don't want to hear him anymore.
Honestly, man, I hate this so much, right? What about all of the people who had their lives literally destroyed, right?
Yeah.
Got debanked, lost their homes, lost their families, went to jail for cancel culture, right? And James is like, oh, no one wants to talk to me anymore. That is not being canceled, right?
No.
Being canceled requires state and or corporate intervention. What you are suffering from is opprobrium, right? Everyone is just laughing at you. That is a completely different thing, right?
Yeah.
And you got no one but yourself to blame, in my opinion. Right, let's play it, shall we? Have you got the video?
Yeah, I do right here. Yeah, here we go. Brace yourselves, everybody. Anti-white herpes coming.
But there's nobody else left. The left all left Twitter for the most part.
Well, not all of them. I get leftist stuff.
It's not like it was. They've got their blue sky, and I don't know what's going on over there.
Are you back on Twitter?
Yes. After Elon bought...
So they didn't get you banned. You criticized them.
No, they have not got my account shut down yet. They have done other things. I can't look at my notifications whatsoever. So I can't use Twitter interactively. It's what Joe Rogan refers to as post and ghost, is about all I can do. So you post things and you just don't look at what happens. If I post anything on social media or on Twitter right now, it is an absolute guarantee that an avalanche of abuse will come underneath.
And we all contribute.
Quite graphic, a lot of which is just calling me Jewish, which I'm not Jewish, because somehow Jew has become an insult for these people. And it's again a veritable avalanche of this every time. My experience is so toxic.
That's what you mean by you can't check your notifications?
Well, I can if I want to read, 1,000 comments an hour about how fat and ugly and Jewish and sexually dysfunctional and whatever else. But it's not, it's not a really productive use of my time to try to find thoughtful comments back to things that I've said, to whether or not I want to interact with those or share those, to have to wade through, literally a sewer. It's not all angry people
Keep it
out
up,
there. There are
boys.
kind
Keep
of a
it
couple of phenomena that go beyond, James said something stupid online, therefore let's get him, right?
Yeah.
One of those phenomena is that there are dedicated servers. I mean, the Groypers, as Nick Fuentes calls his group, have what they call Groyper chats, which are humongous Discord servers, back channel servers, where they coordinate how they're going to attack on
He's
people.
retarded.
So
They're
you
not on
say something,
Discord.
you fall afoul of them, and there are thousands of people who spend time in these chat servers whose job it is to go attack whatever they don't like, or like and retweet and bolster and congratulate whatever they do like, in order to create a false impression of how things are liked and disliked on social media.
Oh, you mean we're organizing? We're organizing and applying pressure? You mean like everyone does to affect change and to to make changes in society, James? That's what we do in a civilized society. We don't beat each other with rocks. We use our words, James.
That's very collectivist of you, Yiz, right? Don't you know that the liberal position, right, is to basically remain atomized and do absolutely nothing? I just like to remind the audience, right, that James's arc, right, was basically firstly to start telling Christians, right, that they weren't real Christians despite being an atheist, right? Number one, that's what really started pissing people off, right? This is what got him disinvited from a bunch of Christian things, because he was basically being like, oh, I know Christianity better than you do, even though I'm an atheist. Christians don't appreciate that. Look, I mean, imagine if he did it to the Muslims or the Jews or the Hindus, they also wouldn't appreciate that, right?
Yeah.
But, he's like, oh, then he went on a warpath against fucking, people like Oren McIntyre and everybody else, and was like, oh, actually, you're doing some weird ritual, and then he just beat
and Oren McIntyre is pretty damn milquetoast. He's not extreme at all.
And then he went on the warpath against Daryl Cooper. I mean, and also, right, he's been posting all this stuff about how there's no famine in Gaza, and I mean, read the room, dude, right? Now is not the time to go the full Israel, right? I'm just saying.
I mean, being a Zioshil is very unpopular now, very unpopular.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. Please continue.
All right,
please continue.
We will continue said video.
And then also to harass people, and then to give people a lot of support when they take the radical positions, right? If you put out a post and say something very radical and you get 40,000 likes, but it happened to come from that, you don't know it came from that. You just think you said something popular. So you get lured into pushing more radicalism. A second phenomenon is not just these back channel group chats, which can be thousands of people, by the way. It's also bot networks. Some of those are going to be run by domestic actors, but they're also being run by foreign actors. Why wouldn't a foreign government do this? China dedicates $16 billion a year of a military budget to attacking with information warfare into the...
So this is James's narcissism. He thinks that agents of other countries to attack the West are creating bots to insult him for his stupid takes on Twitter.
Yeah.
What a champ.
The Chinese.
So
yeah, ridiculous.
So there are huge bot networks. So what's going to happen for talking to me? I was surprised you guys even wanted to talk to me. It's not just because I'm broadly canceled with conservatives, and I know you guys are, staunchly American libertarian, but you're going to get attacked on social media for this. You're going to get swarmed. They're going to make clips of it. They're going to try to take it out of context. They're going to try to make you look bad. They're going to call you
Can I just point something out
all kinds of names because you've associated.
James does nothing but take clips, right?
Out of context.
It's actually quite amusing, right? If I want to follow what's happening in right-wing media, right, I just need to scroll through his account, right? Because he'll clip Oren McIntyre, he clipped Daryl Cooper, he clips Tucker, he made a bunch of like clips from the Daryl Cooper, Pete Canones interview, which was really good, by the way. I would highly recommend that. And then he always like prefaces it with the same thing, right? Woke right infiltrator Aaron McIntyre from Woke Right Blaze Media says it, blah blah blah. It's like, dude, you're not helping your situation by doing this, like, at all.
Oh, he's so tragic. Let's keep watching. Let's keep watching here.
With me. Guilt by association is another one of those woke left on the woke right tactics, and you'll get attacked most likely.
There's the herpes
on the
again.
Stuff you put out by bot networks and these group swarms. And I hope that doesn't happen to you. It's unpleasant, but weather the storm the best you can.
And I want to think of this as a small fringe movement, but some of them are now in Congress.
We should be Christian nationalists.
Oh, yes. Christian
Yes.
national. The most terrible thing ever for a Christian country to be ruled by Christians. How dare you, sir? How dare? Don't
And
you
also,
know this? Right?
it's Marjorie
US
Taylor
was
Greene.
The US was
Like-
never a Christian country, right? Those
yeah,
founding
never.
fathers that you had, right? They were like all, pagans, or, some weird sort of atheists, or possibly Jews or Muslims or Hindus. You know what I mean?
So funny.
I mean, I'm not an American, right? But I'm definitely going to like tell you about your country, because this is how I roll, right?
Okay, Ramaswamy, keep it down.
There's nobody else left. The left all left Twitter for the most part.
Well, not all
I
of
think
them.
that's
get
it. I think that's
leftists.
it.
So,
It's not like it
Yeah,
was.
yeah,
They've
you're
got
repeating.
their
Was
blue
that it?
sky, and I
Okay,
don't know
all
what's
right.
going
Oh,
on.
no, it started over. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Do you,
right,
do you want me to
let's,
move to the first clip now?
Let's have a look. Let's see, what have we got?
That's the next one I have loaded right there.
To the first clip.
This was
This
something
is
else.
so 90s. Like, it's
Yeah.
mate, it gives me like
1930s
hardcore
return.
nostalgia. Sorry, go on.
That's okay. I was just gonna say this. I previewed this one. This is the only other one I've previewed tonight. So let's go ahead and there we go. Are you ready?
I'm ready. You're
We are
strapped in.
seeing
Yeah, you guys strapped in. Get ready for this. Get ready for a blast
Check
from the
this out,
past.
bro.
Get ready for some classic old school pearl clutching. Here we go.
the 1930s return again in the United States of America. And we have to speak out against these people that are pushing this isolationist viewpoint, this anti-Israel, it's anti-Semitic position.
So this is you're
Oh,
saying
no.
while many are focusing on the protests, for example, or the anti-Semitism, which is more the radical left or
Right.
the radical Islam, of course, you're saying that this radical right, this woke right, is dangerous.
Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, look at the things that they are saying. There's even people have started to raise concern about Charlie Kirk. He's made some isolationist comments about, supporting Israel as well. We have to be very careful. We cannot tolerate, as American citizens, even within the Republican, the Conservative Party, we can't tolerate these people. We've seen what's happened with the Democrat Party. We've got a guy that is
So they are saying, as Israel supporting Jews who live in America, they can't tolerate Americans wanting America to be healthy.
I mean, this
That's
is
what they're saying.
This is Israel National News. Maybe if someone in chat, if you want to like feed that into Google, is this like an actual Israeli TV channel, or is this an
No, it
Israeli,
looks
like,
American. It looks American because it has
does.
the American marquee at the bottom. It has the American backdrop. It even has the American thing up in the upper left corner. This looks like American news.
I love how they frame that like Americans wanting to look after America is anti-Semitic.
Yeah,
This is the problem, right? This is the conversation that fundamentally needs to happen, right? How much support of Israel is in America's interest, right? And I think the reason they don't want to have this conversation is because it's basically an undefensible position. The answer is there is no real sort of benefit for America supporting Israel. No. I mean, apart from the blackmail and the money printing and the surveillance technology and the child exploitation networks. So it's an indefensible position. So they're just doing everything they can in their power to stop this conversation from happening. But it is already happening, right? You can't just, shut down everything, right? Like, keep going.
Okay.
Pro-terrorist guy who's running for mayor in New York City. This is deeply disturbing that this is happening in the United States of America. And we've got people that are interviewing terrorist sponsors, and we've got what's happening with Iran happening. We have people who are funding and supporting and giving FaceTime. Tucker Carlson, for example, has interviewed the leader of Iran. He's interviewed the leader of Qatar. This is very disturbing that we would give FaceTime to a person like this.
Now, tell us a bit about this really special project you're working on, the Lost Jews of the Inquisition.
Well, this
here
is
we go.
actually a personal project for me personally. My family is descended from Conversos, Moranos. And, after seeing what's happened with the whole immigration issue in the United States, it occurred to me, I'll bet you these people, a lot of these immigrants who come here legally to the United States legally, or even illegally, don't realize that they may also be of Hispanic Latino descent. My great-grandfather on his deathbed called his children to his bedside, told them that he could not leave this earth without telling us that we're Jewish.
So why doesn't she go to Mexico or Israel? Why does she have to make America into Mexico and Israel?
I mean, the thing is, right, like this is unintentionally very, very bad for the position, the Converso position, right? For those of you who don't know, right, a little history lesson, right? After the Reconquista in Spain, right, there was an expulsion, right? The Spanish were very, very salty that the Jews had helped the Muslims conquer Spain, right?
Yeah.
Most famously by opening the gates of Toledo, right? And then a few hundred years later, the Spanish Reconquista happened, and the Jews were expelled. And rather than, stop me if you've heard this story before, right? Rather than self-reflecting and being like, gee, was it really a good idea to let in the Muslims, right? They wandered like Turkey and Palestine and, all those like places, basically being like, why did God abandon us, right? Like it spawned like Sabbatai Sevi. It's a fascinating like bit of history, but there was basically no self-reflection, right? There was no sort of like, gee, should we have done this like thing? No. None of that.
Maybe we shouldn't be manipulative assholes that purposely try to ruin every country that lets us live here. That seems to never cross their minds.
So the Conversos were Jews who converted to Christianity, right? And a lot of them didn't do it sincerely. And that's what the Spanish Inquisition was actually about, right? It was trying to root out people who said they had converted to Christianity, but actually hadn't, right? And despite the way that it is portrayed in modern media, I think the Inquisition was around for like 350 years. They didn't kill that many people, actually, right? I think it was just, it's more like sort of a modern invention. So this is the real question, right? Obviously many Christians would be like, oh, it's fine, we can just convert them all to Christianity. Can you? Look at this woman, right? Like, anyway, enough of that.
Shall we move to the next clip?
Yes, the next clip, please.
All right, this one is a YouTube video.
This is great.
He is a Hitler-loving podcaster on a mission to convince young Christian men to hate, all in the name of God. And it turns out he calls Tennessee home.
Tonight, you will meet that controversial figure who critics worry is leading a lot of young men across the country down a treacherous path. He sat down for a one-on-one interview with News Channel 5 chief investigative reporter Phil Williams, who has been confronting the hate in our state for almost 2 years now.
Phil is with us now. And Phil, this is a very different character from the neo-Nazi white supremacists you've previously confronted, right?
Definitely different in tone in how he presents himself. Corey Mahler portrays himself as an intellectual and as a theologian. Still, as you're about to see, his hate is not so different from the hate of the KKK.
What a joke.
I moved back to where my family is from. I'm happy to live here.
From here in the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains in historic Blount County, a 39-year-old Tennessee man is waging a battle for the heart and soul of the American Protestant Church, a church that, in his view, should teach not just about a God of love, but also a God of hate.
Slavery isn't outlawed in Scripture. It can't be. God doesn't change. God says it's permissible in the Old Testament.
His Bible quoting podcast has sparked intense online debate in conservative Christian circles.
Title of the article here is, Corey Mahler believes Hitler went to heaven and wants to take over the Lutheran Church.
About his growing influence.
I don't talk about Stone Choir because I don't talk about Stone Choir. I don't think they're a big problem
among young Christian men.
The reason we're having to address it is because we're seeing it in our churches.
And according to some, his threat to the church.
And he is one of the most dangerous people on the planet and the biggest threat to confessional Lutheranism that I see.
One of the most dangerous people on the planet.
We're somewhere between 50,000 and 100,000 listeners right now per episode.
He's basically Osama bin Laden.
Mahler's Stone Choir podcast is, by his own admission, aimed at hooking impressionable young men.
And if you want to influence society, you want to influence young men.
And that is your goal, is to push young men further and further to the right.
Our goal is to push young men to become actual Christians.
Part of Mahler's idea of being an actual Christian, the notion expressed in this tweet that Jesus Christ is Lord and Adolf Hitler is his faithful servant. You are an avowed racist.
Yes.
You are an anti-Semite. You hate Jews.
I wouldn't say that I hate Jews.
You think Jews are the enemy?
I think that religious Jews are certainly the enemy.
You think democracy is evil?
Correct.
You are a fascist?
Yes.
And unlike most Americans who honor the sacrifices of the brave men who died on the European battlefield.
Can we just take a moment to admire the Chad yes? I admire the Chad yes. It is very strong.
The way this is portrayed, like from this, like straight back into the post-war consensus, right?
Yeah.
You know, footage from like Normandy, right? Like, you know, don't you know, right? Like we fought World War II, right? Like therefore,
look at this black and white propaganda video from 80 years ago.
Now look, Corey Mahler does, along with Treble Woe, the Stone Choir podcast, and look, I really like that podcast, right? I'm not Lutheran, so I don't agree with sort of everything they say, but in terms of religious history, it's really really good. It's incredibly well researched, very, very detailed. They're doing episodes on the Septuagint at the moment. For those of you who don't know, the Septuagint is the original Greek version of the Bible, which was displaced by the Hebrew version, right? And Mahler's contention is that using the Hebrew Bible brought Judaism into Christianity, right? And this is sort of the original way that Judeo-Christianity started, and he goes into the history. Is very, very, very fascinating. But his other sort of assertion is that, well, look, God is eternal, right? Therefore, right, you know, it's in the Old Testament, right? God was okay with slavery. God was okay with genocide. So, you know, how can you sort of say that that's bad? I don't know. That's a bit spicy for me, but, you know, and also the basic assertion, which is absolutely true, that before 1950 or 1960, Christianity was completely different to the way it is commonly portrayed now, right? The UN got involved and all this sort of ecumenism, the idea, we all worship the same God, right? Like we can fuse all the world's religion into one. No, you can't.
Like we say in Go Free, even the institution of Christianity fell to anti-whiteism. Like the anti-white mean pathogens came to many of us through the church, through Christians.
Yep. Well, people are pushing back. Do you want to keep playing this? This is pretty good. All right,
there's a few minutes more of this.
Instead of memorializing the dead, Mahler argues the overwhelming majority of those who died on the Allied side in World War II are in hell. You think Hitler was a man of God who is in paradise?
That is correct.
And you think every Jew that Hitler killed is in hell?
If he was a practicing Jew.
As for the well-documented historical horror of the Holocaust, Mahler calls it an anti-German blood libel. If you believe that Hitler did kill millions of Jews, would you have a problem with that?
I don't believe that he did.
If he did, would you have a problem with it?
I don't have a problem with genocide per se, and I can't as a Christian, because God commanded it in the Old Testament of the Canaanites.
Hitler was right!
It's a message not unlike the neo-Nazis we've confronted on Nashville streets, or even members of the Ku Klux Klan who once operated in the backwoods of the Old South. What's the difference between you and an uneducated guy in a white robe and hood?
Well, I would object to say that those men were necessarily uneducated. There were many members of the KKK who were certainly quite educated.
The fringe guy like Corey Mahler, what he ends up doing is creating space for the slightly less radical people to push their radicalism and have it look normal by comparison, thus normalizing their arguments.
James Lindsay is a conservative commentator who has drawn criticism for his critique of the so-called woke left, more recently setting his sights on what he dubbed the woke right. He says it would be a mistake to dismiss Mahler as just being a fringe character.
The fringe doesn't always stay the fringe. The fringe can, in fact, very radically and very quickly become a major force in society.
That's right, boys. We're winning. Keep pushing.
As Mahler imagines it, America needs a Hitler-like figure, a so-called Christian prince, to get elected and then seize power to impose a Christian nationalist government.
I don't disagree.
The leader, he argues, will necessarily be either Lutheran or Presbyterian. Baptists, he admitted, need not apply.
I think that a lot of Baptists do not read the scripture and believe what they've read.
Yeah, and they would have no place in a Christian nationalist government.
In the government, yes.
Mahler would also drive every person of color out of the country, even if they are American citizens, arguing that we should make America white again. The United States is a constitutional republic. Where in the Constitution does it say that it's for whites only?
If you go back to the interest of the founding fathers and their intent is for us and for our posterity.
Well,
posterity is blood.
Does it say that in the Constitution?
It doesn't currently say that, but that's a fundamental problem with the Constitution.
Are blacks intellectually and morally inferior? Yes.
Part of Mahler's technique, we discovered, is to condescendingly spout supposed facts that support his views about black crime, for example, while dismissing others that don't. And overwhelmingly, those responsible for sexually assaulting children are white men.
No, that's false.
Why don't you talk about white male crime?
Those data are actually inaccurate. If you look at the...
So you believe nothing that doesn't confirm your views?
No, if you look at the per capita rate, the difference is that I actually look at the statistics. And I run the statistical analysis myself.
Studies that disagree with your viewpoint.
God has set the rules. God plays by the rules.
Can we just talk about what a fucking stupid faggot this interviewer is for a second? This anti-white, stupid, midwit piece of shit saying like, oh, well, I've got studies that, so if you interpret data one way, you're just using fake data to support your theory. And he doesn't realize he's doing the same thing.
Yeah, look, so what's basically happening in all of these interviews, right, is the following, okay? So you set a moral frame, right? And then you basically say anyone outside that moral frame, right, you don't even have to listen to them, right? You know, like
they have but I still like calling him an anti-white faggot for doing it.
Yeah, okay. No, but my point is this, right? This power only works when it is used very sparingly, right? If you start just excluding people, right, like it's, a conveyor belt, right? Sooner or later, you start excluding enough people to form a critical mass outside the moral frame, right? And then when you deny them any entry back into the moral frame, right? Sooner or later,
then they get the idea to make their own country with blackjack and hookers.
Sooner or later, right? You get a situation where you sit down with someone and be like, "Oh, you're a racist," and they're like, "Yeah," and so what, right?
So what?
Because this whole thing has just been used as a way to avoid having conversations about very real grievances, right? And it's just becoming unsustainable. That's basically what's happening.
It's a good comment from Dissident Knight, one of our monthly supporters. Dissident Knight says, yes, but my fake data is state mandated, though.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, the balls on this interview are to be like, oh, you just don't agree with anything that doesn't support your views. Like, he's not exactly the same.
Yeah, and the thing is, that's not how this guy is, though. Like, he first of all, this is an hour-long interview that's been very carefully cherry-picked.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. You want to watch the rest of it or move on to the next one?
Well, I mean, yeah, let's wait, what's the next one we've got? The next one's quite short. Yeah, play a bit more of this, actually.
Sure. There's only a couple more minutes of this. We'll finish it.
Okay.
Seems to doubt his own intellectual superiority, especially when it comes to his claims about Jews that are built on the flimsiest of foundations.
Jews who are practicing Jews pray multiple times a day to curse Christians.
I have lots of Jewish friends. They do not curse Christians.
Well, they don't tell you they curse Christians.
Come on.
Dude, there's
part of the Jewish religion is also to lie
there are
about
thousands of videos, many of which I've seen, of Christians going to Israel with love in their heart and people spitting at them and cursing them just for being Christians in Israel. I've seen dozens of these videos. I know there are thousands of them. Like this is common knowledge to anybody that deals with Jews in Israel. Common knowledge.
Jewish religion,
which was a lot like his claims that Jews owned the pornography industry and wielded it as a weapon against whites, particularly white Christians. You blame Jews for that?
Yes, they admit that.
Yeah.
Hugh Hefner was raised Methodist.
Sure.
Larry Flint, who produced some very vile pornography, was raised Pentecostal.
Sure.
So why are you not willing to look at the role of other groups in pornography?
Look at what the Jews themselves say in their own papers. They proudly say that they are behind pornography and that they push it because they hate God.
That is just not true.
I can get you the article. Obviously, I don't have it on me. I didn't print it, but that is literally a quote from a Jew.
A Jew.
Yes, of course.
Well, if you're talking about from a Jew, you're going to say.
And also to back up what he's saying, if you go read the early anti-whites who were behind feminism and the homosexual movements and all of this transgender nonsense going back 100 years ago, all Marxist Jews. And what did they say? This approach of destroying the family through pornography and hypersexualization is the goal to weakening the whites, weakening the West, so we can flourish. They hated whites. They hated our civilization. They hated our order. They hated our religion. And this was the poison they designed for us. Many Jewish authors of the early 1900s wrote they were doing exactly this. You can find those. I've read those. They're online.
Talking about a quote, it's obviously from one man. They don't all speak with the same head. They're not a hydra in that sense.
And yet there he was making an argument based on a quote that he later attributed to a single Jewish pornographer, Al Goldstein, a self-proclaimed atheist, claiming he was speaking for all Jews, while also ignoring, for example, the extraordinary number of Jewish Nobel Prize winners who have been honored for their contributions to humanity.
This is so boomer.
And
oh my
yet
God.
You say our enemies are ontologically evil. No means are morally impermissible in pursuit of exterminating them.
Sure.
Perhaps
Another
most
Chad,
disturbing
yes.
is Mahler's
Wow.
view that a future American Hitler would be justified in rounding up and exterminating Jews or any other peoples deemed to be the enemy.
My preferable means of exterminating any given enemy is converting him to Christ. Because in doing that, I have destroyed him as an enemy.
And if they don't, you're okay with killing them?
That would be war. And killing in war has always been something that Christians find permissible, as long as the war itself is morally justified.
Corey Mahler is an evil man. He should be marked. He has been marked. We shouldn't be praising him for anything.
While conservative churches wrestle with Mahler's influence, the East Tennessee man continues to hearken back to a dark past, trying to convince young men that this should also be America's future. If viewers hear some of your viewpoints, why should they not conclude that your viewpoints are evil?
If men can formulate an argument that is based in God's word, that is sound, and that is against what I have said, then by all means, they should listen to God and not me.
2 years ago, Corey Mahler was excommunicated from his home church of the Lutheran Church in Knoxville and accused of trying to tear apart his entire denomination, although he says he is still welcome to worship in another Lutheran church near his home in East Tennessee.
All right. Well, that's the end of that. So,
yeah. So presumably they'll be going after his other church now.
Yeah.
Like,
so
yeah, I mean, this.
Wiki, how about that, guys? Wiki, how about? And that guy doesn't live far from me. I could go visit him if I wanted to.
There is a broader schism happening in the Lutheran Church over, like, not the sort of hysterical sort of like stuff, but over this basic idea of well, everything changed in the 1960s. Did God tell everyone to, like, change the church in the 1960s, right? Like, can't we go back? Ryan Turnipseed was like big into this, and the tactics that these churches have been using against these people is very, very sly, a lot of like cancel culture, a lot of like, Yeah, it's pretty insidious. Okay, so I think the next one we've got is that thing from Surrounded. This might get copy struck off YouTube, by the way. Years, I don't know. It might, enough time might have passed, but apparently they're being very litigious about it. But this clip has been doing the rounds.
The one we just watched?
No, the next one.
Okay.
It's Mehdi Hassan, who is like a Muslim Englishman, right? Who's now gone to the UK. I don't know like why he'd be going to the UK. Going to America, right? Like, isn't the UK like absolutely awesome? Why isn't he still in the UK? Right? It's so diverse here. No,
It's from Mehdi Hassan?
Yeah. Wait. Let me
Give me a second. It might be this link then.
No. Hang on, I'll send it to you again. Maybe I forgot it in the list.
You had me juggle the order, so now I'm kind of lost.
Yeah, sorry about that.
If it's
the last one in the list.
Okay, that's the one. All right.
Now you've probably seen this. It's been doing it's pretty cringe.
Oh, but, yeah, this is just slop. Yeah.
Yep.
I didn't know the guy's name, but yeah, this is slop. But no, this is only like 40 seconds. We'll give it a go here.
Yeah.
My family lineage is settlers from the 1500s. So
you don't look very Native American to me.
I am Native American. Whites are Native Americans. What are you talking about?
You're not.
What are you talking about?
You're a little bit more than a far-right Republican.
Hey, what can I say?
I think you could say I'm a fascist.
Yeah, I am.
Listen to me. I am an immigrant. I'm speaking from personal experience.
Get the hell out.
I don't even like... I should get the hell out.
Yes.
Why?
Yeah.
I don't want you here.
My first claim is Donald Trump is pro-crime and pro-criminal. Donald Trump is defying the Constitution. Immigrants overall are good for America. Donald Trump's plan for Gaza is ethnic cleansing. I'm Mehdi Hassan. I'm a journalist. I'm the editor of Zeteo. And today I'm surrounded by 20 far-right conservatives.
Yeah.
So
a lot of people have seen that clip. Yes, it is kind of cringe. Hang on a second. Let me
there we go.
It is kind of cringe. Wait, let me embiggen.
There we go.
It is kind of cringe. But what the point is that the magic words are no longer working. And so the pivot, I think, is to basically say, anyone who doesn't respond to the magic words is cringe, bros. Am I right? Look at these people not responding to the magic words. Everybody knows, right, that you have to respond to the magic words. But the magic words have been overused, right? Like a pesticide that the insects grow immunity to, right? Because you overused it, right? You overused it. You killed off everything, right? You did not use your power judiciously. You just went after anyone. You didn't talk about any of the deeper issues, and now it's coming back to bite you on the ass, right? So we've got this article. We can just finish off with. Hang on a second. Where's the?
What are we doing?
Okay.
What? I thought that was. Oh, okay. Article. Right.
So this is from Le Monde, right? This is also about as sort of boomer mainstream as you can get. This is a big newspaper in France. And look, you've seen it all before. This is exactly the same message. Oh, I think we've got an interview, by the way. Yes, check out.
We do. We were watching videos, so
Right. So as you can see, it's got Peterson and Douglas Murray and Rogan and Candace Owens and Tucker and some dude I don't know who that. Tensions are rising in the United States between conservatives who have rallied behind Donald Trump and his most radical supporters, such as podcaster Joe Rogan. Yes, noted radical Joe Rogan. And former Fox News journalist Tucker Carlson. Behind the debate over the emergence of a woke right lies the question of the MAGA movement's future. In comparison with Joe Rogan's tattooed biceps molded into his t-shirt, Douglas Murray looks like a well-behaved pupil. With his neatly combed hair and iron shirt, the British journalist has come to call the American right to order. You've been called to order there, Yes? You got to listen to Douglas Murray. On April 10th.
Douglas Murray can eat shit and die. I would be happy if he died from AIDS.
On April 10th, he was invited by the American podcaster to present his latest book. But in the first few minutes in the quiet studio, the conversation took a different turn. Oh no. Murray challenged his host about the people he invites on his show, the insanities he allows them to utter on air, and finally, about the responsibility he bears as a host, followed by millions of Americans. I feel like you have opened the door. I can't do a fucking Douglas Murray. I feel like you have opened the door to quite a lot of people who have now got a big platform, who have been throwing out counter-historical stuff of a very dangerous kind. Murray told Rogan with a serious tone, while the podcaster puffed on his trademark cigar. Now, the spat between Murray Rogan and his sidekick, Dave Smith. Yeah, because Dave Smith is like Rogan's sidekick. He's on every episode, right? He's basically like Rogan's new Jamie. Might seem superficial, but in reality, it illustrates the major tensions shaking the American right. The areas of contention are far from trivial, and they include geopolitics, partisan sectarianism, attitudes towards minorities, relations with history, and truth. You do want to have a relationship with truth. So my woke right, my James Lindsay, and then wait. There's like a bit where he like mentions all the people, right? This is some rando. Anyone who doesn't laugh at jokes about Hitler and black people is immediately labeled a rhino, or fake members of the Republican Party suspected of left-wing sympathies, right? Then they talk about Daryl Cooper. Murray says they're flirting with Holocaust denial and absolving Hitler of blame. In America, we saw years of crazy left overreach where they tried to make us all say the craziest thing. And completely predictably, there are now figures on the right playing with really dark and ugly stuff on their side. Right, goes on about JD Vance. And then sorry, Ben Shapiro. Candace Owens is like talked about. Tucker Carlson. And then weirdly enough, it mentions Jordan Peterson, and then mentions Konstantin Kisin. I can't think what it is.
Wait, it calls those two?
Yeah.
Like us?
Amazing, right?
Those two are fucking Zionist pieces of shit.
There's a paragraph where they literally mention
just Control F, dude. You'll find it.
Right. Yeah, right.
No, you're right there. It's right there. It's the top
right.
paragraph right there on the screen.
Canadian social media star psychologist Jordan Peterson also expressed his dismay at Trump's stance on Canada, which allowed the Liberal left to win the election at the expense of the Conservatives. Yeah, it's all Trump's fault, right? For some observers, such as satirist and podcaster Konstantin Kisin, this amounts to Trumpists, quote, thinking the West is bad and siding with its enemies, which is once again woke right behavior.
It's not calling Peterson and Kisin like us. It's just mentioning them.
Yeah. By all accounts, the term doesn't primarily target the U.S. administration, but rather its most extreme supporters in the digital sphere. Yet upon closer inspection, Trump and his team readily engage in practices similar to those of the woke. Let's start with the verb. Soon after their arrival in the White House, a number of words were banned from government platforms, including discrimination, feminism, stereotypes, biologically female, and non-binary. This backlash seeks to annihilate the idea of reshaping society through the use of a progressive lexicon.
Yes.
Yeah, fucking base.
That's base. Because if there's one thing at all I have learned from the Go Free method, it's that language shapes thought. Words are a toolbox you use to think outside your head with others. And when you change those tools, you change the function of the tool. Like, obviously, lexicon is power. Like, the white race wasn't destroyed with nuclear bombs and torpedoes and nuclear submarines and Russia. We were laid low with manipulative language and thought poison. That's why we even have the term mimetic pathogen. Like, it's 100% correct. And fighting against and trying to destroy or put in a box harmful language that destroys things is absolutely based. We absolutely should do that.
I love how, like, oh yeah, we use this weapon to devastating effect on you, but please don't respond in any way, right? Like, don't you push back against the communists or anything like that, right? Like, look, just forget about it, right, until the next turn of the wheel, right? This is the ratchet effect, right? You're just supposed to lay down and like instantiate the latest gains of the left, right, while it all dies down, and you like briefly empower and you do nothing, and then the left get back in and they push it over another notch until you get the revolution. Fuck that. Anyway, that's the end of the article. I just thought you guys might enjoy that.
Let's embiggen. Yeah, we have some paid chats to get to. Let's start over on Cash App, see if there's anything that popped up there. Nothing new on Cash App. We will go to PayPal. Our good friend in the chat, Dawn. Hello, Dawn Browning. Good to see you, my dear. Like usual, she sends us $10 US and 2 hearts and 2 trophies, and the hearts are white, of course. And she says, for my fave racist Nazi bigots.
Thanks very much, Dawn.
Thank you, Tom. Also over on Entropy, we have $15 from Stumbling. Thank you so much, Stumbling. He says, mate. A person can spout the most off-the-wall fascist extremism, and even if I disagree with them, I can guarantee that they are 100% more rational, skeptical, and morally principled than the average leftist anti-white. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, you got a point.
And I'll refresh Entropy. Nothing new on Entropy. And that's it. Those are the only 2 that we had tonight. So we are in the clear. So thank you guys for being here to have some yucks with us and to laugh at the anti-white herpes of woke right, which just seemingly won't go away no matter how much we treat it.
Well, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how this develops, right? You know, if they're moving to mainstream media, things must be very, very dire, right? Yeah. Like they're getting clearly no traction on social media. Everyone's like fucking annoyed with them, right? Like, so, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't say that the boomers are like, you know, really going to like move stuff anymore. So I think this is an indication that they feel like the battle is basically lost among the next generation. In my opinion, right, if they really wanted to influence the discourse, the thing to do would be to try and engage with these conversations and shape that discourse, right? Like acknowledge the grievances and try and like work out a solution, but they're still not doing any of that.
But they can't.
Right?
They can't because all they have is, well, we do this because it used to work, and this is all we know to do because we actually hate you.
Yeah.
Like any of these, whether they're Jewish or white or black or whatever, when you confront these anti-white people that believe in, you know, whatever it is, whether it be transgenderism or Zionism or whatever, and you say, but this action or this thing that you push, it is demonstrably harmful to the host population of my white country. I would like you to stop it. Why do you want to continue when you know it's harmful? They don't have an answer. They either say your information is wrong, or they immediately move to ad hominems and call you a Nazi and a racist and a bigot. Because that's all they have.
Say you can't talk about that, right? You know,
well, that's what I'm saying. It's like
only the wrong kind of people would even dare to talk about that. It's not working, right? Like
it's just, it doesn't work now that we are all equipped with information and language to counter this stuff. They don't have a defense. All they have is just a continued gaslighting and tyranny, and it sucks. So, but anyway, that was a fun stream. I had fun. I am dying. I'm sweaty. It is miserable over here. I'm going to go dump cold water over my head and lay in front of the air conditioner. So, you guys all stay cool this weekend. If you're in Australia, like a couple of our viewers, stay warm. I'm sure it's winter down there. And we will be back Monday with Happening TV and Discordant Dragons. So, you guys have a blessed weekend, everybody. Keep hard.
Have a great weekend, everyone. Thanks for the super chats.